Hi, and welcome to Talking Happily Ever After. In this podcast, we talk about movies with a happily ever after theme. I'm your host, Danielle. Feel free to drop me a DM, a voice message, or an email on the available platforms linked in the description box. Happy listening! Hi, everyone. Happy Valentine's Day. I hope you had a wonderful day until now. Thank you for tuning in, and a special welcome to all the new listeners. You're all appreciated. Last week, I posted a poll on my Instagram stories and I asked which movie I should talk about on Valentine's Day. Thank you to all who participated, and the winner of the poll was It Was Always You. Let's get into the movie. The movie is starring Erin Krakow as Elizabeth and Tyler Hynes as David Belling, premiered on Saturday, February 27 at 9 p.m. on Hallmark Channel. Elizabeth and her fiancé George are dentists and they co-own a dental practice. Their engagement party is in a week and they're also having a surprise birthday party for George's mom. They are holding the parties at George's family home. They leave the practice in the hands of Denise, their dental assistant, and a substitute dentist. On arrival at his childhood home, Elizabeth that is, accidentally lets George's mother in on the surprise they're planning for her. George's sister Louise, who lives home again after a bad breakup, is also there. Lizzie is surprised when she hears that David, George, and Louise's world traveling brother is coming home for the parties. George gets calls from the practice and seems consumed with being available for his patients instead of enjoying time away with his fiancée. David and Lizzie's first meeting after years is hilarious. They accidentally meet in a local ice cream shop and reminisce on the good old times. Lizzie and her parents lived across the street from the Belling family. She spent a lot of time at their home. Their house was her escape since her parents were constantly bickering. David was an obnoxious little boy who terrorized Lizzie by stealing her fries, her Coke, and by making them wait for him and talking during movies. The surprise birthday party is a success. Grandma Vivian is also there, and she encourages David to accept love if it comes his way. David and Lizzie dance, and it's the first time in the movie we're introduced to the sing, that special feeling. During the party, George takes a call and he has to travel back to the city, and he promises to be back in a day just in time for the engagement party. Lizzie stays behind to take care of the preparations for the engagement party and the upcoming wedding. David disturbs her rest by playing loud music. George is stuck on the other side of the bridge into town for 3 or 4 days. The bridge is damaged by a storm. Now Lizzie has to take care of all the preparations for the party and the wedding all by herself. And since George, her fiancé, has her car, David, the brother, offers to take her to the appointments. David is opinionated, gives unwanted advice, challenges her to step out of her comfort zone. He takes her to the Flying Otter, an oyster bar she always wanted to visit. David finds bucket list she wrote when she was very young, and he challenged her to free herself from the boundaries she put up. One of the most iconic scenes in the movies is when David and Lizzie select items for the wedding registry. She has a list, but again, David challenges her to choose items she really likes. At one point, when she's in the zone selecting items, she points the barcode gun at him and selects him for her wedding registry. To me, it was as if time stood still. Both their reaction, pure gold. Grandma Vivian sees the attraction between David and Lizzie. Honestly, I think that everybody else, Diane, that's George's mom, Louise, all saw the attraction between David and Lizzie. And Grandma Vivian tells Lizzie about the sing, that special feeling. While choosing the music for the wedding, David and Lizzie try out the first dance. This is another iconic scene. Now Lizzie feels the same. When the engagement party finally comes around, Lizzie knows that she cannot go through with the wedding. She ends the engagement, and David leaves the party thinking all hope is lost. We learn that after breaking off the engagement, Lizzie starts traveling. She visits the places on the bucket list. When she returns home, she finds an invitation to Louise and Eugene's wedding. Eugene is the mailman who had a crush on Louise for a very long time. At the wedding, David and Lizzie meet again. They finally come clean to each other. David has loved Lizzie since he was very young, since he was a boy. Remember Lizzie's bucket list? After seeing her put her list in a book, he wrote the same bucket list and added that they only wanted to visit those places with her. He also places his list in a book hoping that she would find it. She never did. They confess their love for each other, kiss, and as we say, they lived happily ever after. Guys, what a movie. First, compliments to the writer Kathy Close. She wrote the teleplay, and the movie is based upon the book Today Is Not Your Day by Marianne Turn. Kathy Close is also the executive producer. Erin Krakow and Tyler Hynes. What can I say? They are masters of their craft. It all came so naturally. They took me on a journey and I didn't want it to end. Their chemistry was amazing. You all know by now that I always look for reminders in movies. Well, this one had a few. Always be yourself. David was unapologetically himself. He and George were opposites. George was Mr. Rigid, the non-outdoorsy type, focused on work. There was no room in George's life for spontaneity. Lizzie conformed herself to George's wishes. Every time she tried to be spontaneous or deflect from the rigid plans, he shut her down. David, on the other hand, challenged her and encouraged her to be herself. Don't give up on your dreams. Lizzie wanted to travel, hence the bucket list. Life got in the way. In the end, she went back to her dream and took time to travel. Stay respectful. David had a thing for his brother's fiancée, but he didn't overstep. I'm so glad that the writer left room for Lizzie to grow, to find herself before bringing her and David together. The last scene by the fire, that was an amazing scene. This movie is in my top 5 favorite Hallmark movies. How do I rate it? I rate this movie 5 out of 5 stars. Would I like to see a sequel? 1,000 times yes. Preferably set outside the USA. They're traveling, planning their wedding, and so forth. Hallmark, you want a sequel. Make it happen. That's all for this episode. Feel free to connect with me on the available platforms. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time, stay well. As you go about your week, may peace be yours, may abundance overflow, may you be a light wherever you go.